This dirt road explains the American dream scam. Is this going to be about how it costs like $50 billion that you pay for as a hardworking taxpayer to pave suburban roads? It's fucking it genuinely, like, it's so depraved.
Properties like this.
Americans really do not believe in society. Imagine buying $1 million mansion and when you step out the door, it's just dirt. That's insane.
This custom-built Victorian estate with wraparound porches, a guest house, a pool with a waterfall, an outdoor kitchen, a fire pit, a gazebo, a treehouse. All told, it's a $2 million property. Clearly, they can afford to pave their roads if they wanted to, but actually, they can't. Every time they hold an HOA meeting, the total price comes back in the millions of dollars, so they vote it down every time. It turns out when people have to pay the true cost of suburban sprawl themselves, they don't think it's worth it. Instead, they drive on dirt, they haul propane.
Yeah, the difference is that the neighborhood that has the asphalt roads is being subsidized by the city. Guaranteed that's where we're going with this. Some provision, some bylaw, some tort, or whatever else. The one with the road, people in downtown LA are paying for that one.
Pick up their own mail. And this is Suburbia's dirty little secret. It costs way more than...
What's this channel? It's a small channel, right? Let's do a bit of positive coverage for once. One day ago, Justine Underhill. Underhill, isn't that the name of the Kevin Spacey character in House of Cards? The genius and horror of Avatar's urban design. Hey, that video popped off. Why speed limits don't matter. Oh, okay. Underwood, that was the name. Gotcha. Sorry, I never saw House of Cards.
Anyone would ever be willing to pay for themselves. The dirt road neighbors aren't the ones getting shortchanged. They're the ones paying honestly.
God,
and the paved neighbors...
I'm sorry, total tangent. When people started posting about like the downfall and disappearance of Mr. Rape, and it was that guy in like the black bodysuit with rape printed in bold text on his shirt. What was it? What was that one post? Dude, Pigman is winning. Mr. Rape is gone, and he's just sitting here smoking blunts. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, with the gimp suit. The internet is fucking wild. No? I'm not doing the post justice. I haven't seen it. Your feed is cooked. Okay. If I look up like, I don't want to Google Mr. Rape Hogman weed. I'm not looking up the keywords that I would need to engage with to find the content I'm looking for.
Neighborhood next door isn't because they're wealthier, it's just because they're better at making someone else pick up the tab, and that someone else might be you. To get to the bottom of this, I went to Providence, Rhode Island to meet someone who spent decades showing cities exactly where their money comes from and where it's bleeding out.
My name is Joe Minicozy. I do economic modeling of cities, towns, counties, whatever. We show the cash flow of how cities operate.
So what Joe does is really cool. He takes cities and then maps them in 3D, not by building height, but by how much tax revenue each piece of land generates.
We've seen these maps before.
Generates per acre. Basically, it's a financial x-ray that shows you where...
Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. It looks like a copyright takedown got rid of the video, but the post is Mr. Torture got doxxed, rape shirt kid left the internet, the Pigman won literally just smoking weed all day, and the video was just a guy with pig ears on, like with a dab rig or something. And that was the post. It's entering the lexicon. Mr. Torture got doxxed, rape shirt kid left the internet. The surprising downfall of Mr. Shit.
Where the money is actually coming from. I realize that tax revenue per acre sounds super mega, So here's a quick look at why it matters. Stick with me. A road costs roughly the same to build whether 10 families live on it or 100. Same with water pipes, sewer lines, power cables. Infrastructure cost follows land, not people. So a big house on a big lot might pay a lot of money in property tax. They pay a lot to the city per person. But it also uses a lot of infrastructure just to serve that one household. So they cost a lot to the city per acre.
It genuinely is insane that this is not build in development, because if it was, we would not have any of this. If the construction companies had to front the bill for the extension of the electrical, roadway, plumbing, all of it, all the way out to whatever properties they were building, if they had to put that for it and they had to incorporate that into the cost of construction and therefore the sale of the property, nobody would be living like this. You would have to be obscenely wealthy, or everyone would just have like septic tanks on property, which is not too uncommon in like really rural places. But people who live in houses like this don't want to be shitting into septic tanks. They want to be like, you know, connected normally. Yeah, I genuinely think that, like, I agree with the subsidization of utilities across the states, but I really do think we fucked up by making the cost of extending that infrastructure an externality. It should be incorporated into the cost of development for sure.
So the million-dollar question is, how much does it pay to the city relative to how much it costs the city? Now, imagine two neighborhoods with the same population. You could build a neighborhood like this, or with the exact same number of people, you could build it like this. Everyone pays property taxes, but one neighborhood needs way more asphalt, way more pipe, way more wire, spread across way more land. You've got a lot more stuff per acre and then way fewer people to split the bill. So
was this the shit you were talking about? It was, and I'm not showing that on stream. Anyone, click on the Am I Cognizant link for a dip into the other world. I'm not showing that shit on stream though.
if you want to know whether a neighborhood is actually paying its own way, you can't just look at the total tax payments. Infrastructure costs follow land. You gotta measure the payments the same way, per acre. And when you do that, when you map an entire city this way, something wild shows up. So city centers are paying way more than they cost. And then low density suburbia doesn't even come close to covering their share. The gap...
The thing, and by the way, I gotta say, remember back when America used to have way more big infrastructural super projects? That's when we didn't have suburbs. Legitimately, American suburbs got built out after World War II. If you start to look at the development of big American infrastructural projects, from like bridges to monuments, everything from decorative to useful, it was after World War II that they really started to decline. And a lot of that is because the money dried up, because cities no longer had excess money. Cities, counties, and states no longer had a bunch of money to burn. It used to be, if you were like if you had like a dense populous city, that city produced money gangbusters, and you might have a budget surplus you could direct towards great works projects. But now, sorry, bucko, every city grows out to like the maximum extent that its downtown area can afford to subsidize its suburbs, and sometimes past that. Sometimes, like, a bunch of American cities are in the red right now. They're in the red.
And then low density suburbia doesn't even come close to covering their share. The gap can be enormous. What this map reveals is that all these high density areas are basically footing the bill for all the low density areas.
So one of my state representatives called my city a cesspool of sin. And he went on to say that's where the freaks and weirdos are. And then he doubled down and said it's not the good people of Buncombe County, it's that city. So politically, he was playing to his base. I called out the county chair of the county commission.
Does this account for a lot of suburbanites working in the city core, or does that not really affect much? It's not relevant, because the suburbanites, we're talking about the tax value the land produces. Personal taxes paid by those workers would be factored into the land value of the suburban neighborhoods they're coming from, you know? It doesn't really matter whether or not they're contributing to the tax revenue produced by areas downtown, because they could do so from downtown if they lived there. Like, the benefits they provide downtown would still be provided if they lived downtown too. But the reverse is not the case. If they lived downtown, they would not be the drain on resources that they represent by living in the suburbs. So like, it's just, this is the reason why for all of human history, a city was basically like the size of what today would be considered a neighborhood. And as soon as you left the walls, you were out in the wilderness. You're out in like village farmland. The actual like provisions and infrastructure provided by a city have to be tightly guarded, closely protected. If you want the benefits of living in a city, you have to accept that density. But now we want to extend the benefits of living in a city and all the utilities that they provide out into the furthest reaches, dozens and dozens and dozens of miles away from the center of the city, which is actually productive. Why isn't downtown a metro utopia if they pull in so much tax? Because they're spending it on the suburbs. That's literally why. What city are we looking at right now? If this city that we're looking at right now was legally just the size of what I'm circling right now with my mouse, like look at my mouse. If it was just this, what I'm circling right here with my mouse, this city would be wealthy. Like we're talking tens of millions of dollars in profit for the city every year. Money they could spend on whatever they wanted. Parks, great works projects, infrastructure, bridges. They could do all of it. They would have huge amounts of just cash, raw cash to burn. But they don't, because everything outside that core that I just circled with my mouse is economically unproductive. The cost of providing services and utilities to those areas is greater than the average return that the city gets from their taxation.
That's at $3.4 million a year of county property.
Oh yeah, here we go. Here, I didn't even have the map out to its full. Like, yeah, this illustrates the nature of the problem, right? If legally the city was only this core area, it would be enormously wealthy. Where are you going to put the parks if everyone's going to be living so densely? I think urban density with frequent parks is like literally the way humans are meant to live. Literally like ideal, like top one, ranked one out of whatever. You do need a small amount of suburbia though, right? Well, the problem is that we have historically had suburbs that worked well. But nowadays, like our definition of suburbia has really been stretched. You know what I mean? Like if let me go back to the thumbnail of this video. This kind of suburbia is objectively economically unproductive no matter what. Nothing can make this productive. This is a money drain. It is abysmal for a city's coffers. But if I were to look up, say, dense suburbs Chicago, this is my go-to example. There are lots of suburbs that are very dense, that are economically productive. And you take a look at this. I'm looking just for single family homes. Obviously, if you've got apartment blocks, that's a different story. I'm looking at single family homes, okay? Let me find the example of what I'm talking about. Ideally with a photo that's not so oversaturated, because that's kind of an ugly photo. You know, I'm looking for something a little bit more. Here we go. Here's a little screen grab of some Chicago's suburbs. See? Hold on, it's multiple photos. Can we look at the photo I was looking at? No? What? Don't like it. What? This is the like this, okay? In America, not on the West Coast, but on the East Coast and in the Midwest, it was pretty common to build out suburbs where once you were outside of the city core, you had extremely dense single-family homes like this. These areas are very economically productive. They are suburbs. You can raise a family here. You can have a small lawn, a backyard. In wealthier neighborhoods, sometimes houses like this even have pools. You often have trams and public transportation. Areas like this are very economically productive. And there are lots of old suburbs in America that fit to this model. Like here's like a slightly more, in my opinion, ugly example, but it demonstrates the point. Like in terms of lot area, these places are very efficient. Compare it to this. Like imagine the lot size here compared to here, right? Enormous difference in the amount of infrastructure being subsidized by the city core. This stuff should not be allowed to exist. It should literally be illegal to build, in my opinion. So areas outside the city should just be left to rot, or would you turn them into something productive? Well, a lot of areas outside of the city are already rotting is the thing. Like, I don't think it should be the responsibility of America and Americans to indefinitely subsidize an economically ruinous system. I think that, like, if you can afford to live in a suburb that's as spacious and vacuous as this, you need to be really fucking wealthy. And if you're not, I'm sorry, you don't have the money to afford this lifestyle. You only got to live like this because hardworking taxpayers in the city core were subsidizing you. That money came from their productivity. I don't think you should get to leech off it. I think it's morally wrong. Like that so much money should be drained away in these economically inefficient suburbs.
City areas.
So one of my
like that money represents amenities that people could otherwise be getting. It's not just frivolous. We're talking about hospitals, fire services. We're talking about public transportation. With the money that's used to subsidize those like outer areas, you could potentially be paying for like free buses and transit for everyone. That's a huge potential increase in the quality of a person's life living in the, the urban core that gets bled away because we're busy subsidizing suburbs that were built to allow white people to escape dense, mixed race, urban areas.
State representatives called my city a cesspool of sin. And he went on to say that's where the freaks and weirdos are. And then he doubled down and said it's not the good people of Buncombe County, it's that city. So politically, he was playing to his base. I called out the chair of the county commission, and I said $3.4 million a year of county property taxes comes out.
Yeah, but you're not fixing this unless you literally flip the table and build new cities. It can be done, dude. Take a look at Houston downtown past versus present. This is a very extreme example, but it's a reminder that it is in fact possible to do these kinds of big transformational city changes. Here, it used to be back in the 70s, downtown Houston was just parking lots. As you can see, this is wretched, but massive changes were made. It is possible to do this. We can do it. And I also believe in building new cities, by the way, but you can do it. Still not great? No, still not good at all. But it's a reminder that transformational change can happen.
The downtown.
Property taxes just need to be increased on suburban areas until they reflect the actual cost, the drain they represent in the city. And that needs to be paired with lots and lots of robust urban construction. It's not an easy process, but it has to be done. We literally cannot afford to keep this going.
So send us a thank you card.
Most major American cities are in debt. Those cities are not like the federal government where they can just print more money or do some quantitative easing bullshit. Like, they're in debt. They pay interest on that debt. The money they don't have gets taken out of city services. That means your schools, your public transportation, it's not getting funded because of those fuck-ass suburbs.
Or give us a box of chocolates. You're welcome. Show me 100 acres anywhere else in the county that's producing $3.4 million. It doesn't exist.
So you guys in some ways were subsidizing the rest of the county.
Every downtown does. Most downtowns subsidize the county.
Remember, the spikes up don't represent the building height, just how much money they bring in per acre. So you can have a tiny old building like this, or one like this, or something like this, and these can produce a big spike. So I wanted to see how this actually played out on the street. So Joe and I went for a walk through downtown Providence.
2 feet, my foot's about 12 inches, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 13, 14. This is about a 13.5-foot wide building. This is illegal in most cities, but this thing's been here for over 100 years. It's 3 stories tall, and I can guarantee you that each one of these little spaces has an active entrepreneur that can try something. So you need tiny spaces in your urban environment for that ecosystem of entrepreneurs to thrive. 14.9 million an acre for this little guy right here. By the way, this parking lot that's behind it is 3 million an acre. So this building is 4.5 times the productivity of that thing right there, the surface parking lot. Killing it at 14.9 million an acre.
If small old buildings can be the most financially sustainable land in a city, what's the least? When a Walmart comes to town, it's a big deal. Local news covers it, politicians show up for the ribbon cutting, and they always make the same promise: more jobs, tax revenue, economic growth. Hey, you see this massive building, a parking lot full of cars, thousands of customers a day. It looks like it'll be the economic engine of the whole area, like this Walmart in Durango, Colorado. Let's compare this to a bookshop cafe in the downtown that takes up about just 1% as much land. Per acre, Walmart pays about $1,800 in property tax. The bookshop and cafe pays over a dozen times more. And it's a similar story for the retail and sales tax they pay too.
And Walmart won't shy away from telling you that. They deliberately design them cheap so they can pay low taxes, but they consume more police service.
This should be illegal? Yeah, it is illegal in lots of like real countries. It is. It is illegal to do this in like I mean, you couldn't do this in like the fucking middle of Paris or whatever. No, it should be illegal. It's unbelievably economically ruinous, but it just keeps happening.
Services than they pay in property
keeps
taxes.
happening.
So for your community, for you to get cheaper toilet paper or whatever, is that trade-off worth it to you? Well, just go out to Walmart and don't look at the building, look at all the stuff around it, the 6-lane road that's out there, all the traffic lights. That's really expensive infrastructure for a very low tax bill.
And it's not just
And
tax
it all has to be maintained too. All got to be maintained.
revenue. Per acre, those 2 downtown shops support over 15 times more jobs than the Walmart. So the places that we think of as economic anchors, the big box store with massive parking lots, are some of the most wasteful land in the city. Then the places we overlook, the old downtown blocks, the 13-foot wide building, are the ones that are carrying the load. This is John Travolta's estate in Marion County, Florida. He lives on a private airstrip, and he literally parks his Boeing 707 in the driveway.
How nice. I actually, hold on one second. The reason I've been quiet is because I was trying to get a direct comparison between like Google Maps and one of the Strongtown maps. So I brought up Ramsey County value per acre. Here we go. Right here. So this is Ramsey County, Minnesota. This is an area that includes primarily St. Paul. This is rotated. So north is, the north direction is, no, it's this way. North is to the top right. So this is at an angle for, you know, illustrative purposes. But we can compare this to Google Maps. So can you see the shape, right? So north is up on Google Maps and north is top right here on the Strongtowns map, see? So we're looking primarily at St. Paul here. And we can zoom in on the economically productive areas, which are primarily in the, I learned shapes a little bit. Yeah, I learned shapes in elementary school. Come at me. You know, point of personal privilege. I did in fact have the opportunity to learn shapes in elementary school. Down in the Southwest, and particularly in like the direct south down here, you see the downtown core of St. Paul, which if you look carefully is a downtown area, right? It looks pretty much how you'd expect it to look. You can do some comparisons here, right? You look to the southwest relative to downtown, and you have, let's see, let's take a look. Pretty dense development, right? Here's Summit Avenue, which is the place that I went to when I visited the Twin Cities, and yeah, the houses here are pretty wealthy. But if you take a look at the neighborhood, oh, sorry, this is an alleyway, probably not the best representation. How do I go back from here? Do I just hit back here? Does that, no, that takes away the county view. I want to go back to the map view. Here we go, okay. But if you take a look at like the kind of urban development that you see down here, keep in mind, these are nice neighborhoods. These are extremely nice neighborhoods. But notice that they're relatively dense. A lot of these houses, we're talking $5 to $10 million. But as suburbia goes, relatively dense. And you know these people are paying property taxes. Again, take a look at the revenue per square foot down here. Now, I think the area we're looking at right here is actually in this relatively low gap place right here. So maybe I'm actually positively representing a negative area. Like this is actually not that productive tax-wise. Let's go back to the maps view and make sure we're looking at the right area, right? So, oh, that's a different screen. Wait, yeah, there we go. So here we go. This is the downtown core. And then we're looking kind of like basically straight west of the downtown core, you know, basically straight west. So we're looking like here, right? We're looking in this kind of area, more or less. Yeah, pretty densely built suburbia, I'd say. Relatively productive, in my opinion. And then if you want to take a look at that and compare it to, go back. Here we go. And you want to compare that to some of the economically unproductive areas, you basically just look like anywhere else, right? Especially here. Oh, these rounded streets are such a dead giveaway. See that lot size? This is exactly what I mean. There are just fewer people. Maybe it doesn't seem like that big of a difference. It seems like abstract because you look at the earlier image and it's like that's suburbia, and you look at this image and this is suburbia. But the lot sizes here are larger than the previous area that we looked at, even though these houses are smaller and obviously less expensive. So these people are paying probably like a very small fraction of their property taxes for a lot size, which means infrastructure, right? The size of the lot is what determines the cost of the infrastructure. Roads, electricity, plumbing, all that takes initial build and maintenance. So it's a significant, probably like a quarter the property tax for maybe about the same cost in infrastructural development. What you want ideally is like consistent, dense build outs everywhere. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Do I sound like I'm crazy? I hope everyone understands what I'm talking about here. It's kind of difficult to get like a bit by bit read on this, but it makes a huge difference. We're talking about like hundreds of millions, billions of dollars that get spent here. This looks like a very egregious example right here. These curved roads, these cul-de-sacs, usually a dead giveaway. Big, big, big lots. Look at that. Huge lots. And on them, you've got one McMansion, right? This is probably, and I'm just guessing here, probably nearly an order of magnitude less productive in terms of taxes paid per dollar spent on infrastructure than some of the more dense suburbs that we were looking at earlier, you know? Okay, but that house had an LGBT flag in it. Yeah, it's St. Paul. It's not exactly like, you know, Chudville, I don't think. Well, hopefully everyone gets what I'm saying. I feel like I'm kind of bemoaning the point and wasting everyone's time by going over it endlessly. I just want people to understand that when I'm railing against suburbia, I'm literally not saying you can't have single-family homes. Areas like this are much more economically productive. These lot sizes are like a 20th what we were just looking at. Like stuff like this is doable. Now, to me, this is still, in my opinion, not dense enough. I don't want cities to just make their quota. I don't want cities to just break even. I want cities to be fucking loaded so they can spend that shit on like good schooling or whatever, you know? So I would still prefer these be built up a little bit more like townhouses. Personally, if you want to look at like the really, really, really economically productive residential areas, we can go to the areas in downtown, right? Or like right next to downtown. Help me find, what are some like proper townhouse builds down here in the downtown area of St. Paul? Does anyone have like a neighborhood I could point to? I mean, these look like giant apartment blocks. Those are going to be very productive, you know, relative to the land area. Marvin's in 8th. Do you have like a link to that in Google Maps? I'd appreciate a link to that if you could do that. What's that on the edge? Why is it reloading this image? Commercial district, I'm guessing. Commercial district right there on the edge of the county, probably. I made it up, sorry. You made it up. You made it up. The shit I have to deal with you people, man. This looks like industrial to me. Even these, and this is next to a golf course. I'm not even talking about peak urbanism here. I'm literally just talking about like less ruinously unproductive suburbs. These houses are relatively dense, you know? Kind of boring in like a big grid formation, admittedly, but yeah. Then you compare it to shit like, yeah, what is with these lot sizes, man? Why the fuck does everyone have a damn forest in their backyard? Concentrate the forest, call it a park. Grid is efficient? Yeah, it's efficient. It's, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Are these apartments or houses? These are apartments. Okay, so they're going to be much more productive per land area. Minneapolis has better, denser housing. I just want like a good comparative example of an area that's like kind of suburban but more densely packed, you know? Go to the intersection of Central and University Avenue in Minneapolis. Well, you have a link? Because, like, I don't want to go typing up stuff or whatever. Every time I open Google Maps and I click in the text box, I worry it's going to go, you know, oh, this address, here's how far it is from your house. This is what your butthole looks like. You know what I mean? Valid? Maybe I would have an easier time with this if I was taking a look at Seattle, because I know Seattle's neighborhoods pretty well. Oh, we looked at that, Tempest. We looked at that. Here, we take a look at Seattle here. And the difference in did Strong Towns ever do a map on Seattle? Do we have like a tax revenue per neighborhood kind of dealio here? I don't think we do. I don't think we do for Seattle. Unfortunately, I don't think we do. You recommend moving to Seattle? It's nice. Hold on. Seattle map tax revenue land. Do we have that? That'd be so nice if we had that. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Sorry. Google Lunds and Burley's Northeast Minneapolis, and you'll find the neighborhood. Okay, I'll do it, but then I'm going to get back to the video, okay? Do it, then I'll get back to the video. Ooh, maybe you're not wrong, huh? No, do the satellite view. Here we go. All right, well, this isn't quite the townhouse. Okay, hold on. Hold your horses. This is not what I was looking for. Now we're making it look a little poopy, you know? I'm looking for, I'm talking about dense suburban developments here. Dense suburban developments here. You know, I know you can get big apartment buildings. I want dense suburban developments. Still more productive? Yeah, but I'm just trying to explain the difference between these suburbs. Go to the right of where you just were. You people are pissing me off. Yeah, it's better. It's better. Just go down University a little further then. You people are pissing me off. These roads are too wide to really make the point I'm trying to talk about here. You know, it's fine. It's fine. We don't need to fight. Chat, we don't need to fight, do we? Isn't dense suburb kind of an oxymoron? No, that's the point that I'm making. Suburb just means next to urban, suburban. The urban area is the city core. You can build dense suburbs. Just go anywhere in Europe. Yeah. I'm trying to explain it in an American context. Look at this. The lot sizes, man. Euro example. I don't give a fuck about Europe. It doesn't exist to me. I don't believe in Europe. Just so brownstones in DC. Sure. Okay. Every time I do one of these, it takes way too long for me to make the fucking point. Brownstones, DC? I don't know what that is. Here's a decent suburb in Seattle. No, not in Seattle. In Chicago? No. It's fine. It's fine. I'm looking. It's fine. You know what? It's fine. Let's just watch the video. It's okay.
Now, by any normal measure, this seems like a massive contribution to the tax base. But remember, infrastructure follows land, not people. He pays about $92,000 per acre. Now, when we check out this house a few miles away, modest neighborhood, small lot, per acre, they pay $1.6 million. That little...
What a phenomenal juxtaposition, man. What a phenomenal juxtaposition. It's insane. It's fucking insane when you look at it like that. And remember, when we're talking about the money that a city gets, it is primarily through land taxes. You know, it's paying your estate tax, not estate tax. What is it? What am I blanking on the land value tax? What is it? It's property taxes. Property taxes. It's through property taxes. Your personal income tax goes to the federal government, by and large. So if a city wants money, it has to be through shit like this.
House is carrying 17 times more of its own weight than John Travolta's estate and private jet runway. And this same pattern shows up almost everywhere.
Property taxes fund schools, right? Yep.
We look. This is Lafayette Parish, Louisiana, and Saddleback Trail is one of its wealthiest neighborhoods, full of McMansions, pools, manicured lawns. To most people, this looks like the part of the town that's carrying the tax base. 10 miles away, this is a neighborhood of Mills Addition. Small houses, narrow lots, buildings are close together. It's one of the poorest neighborhoods in the city. The kind of place you might assume is a drain on the budget, but it's actually the exact opposite.
It's insane. Like, I don't know why I did all that whole tangent. Like, honestly, editors, just remove me going through Google Maps because she's doing such a better job explaining the point than I am because she's doing the direct comparison between the tax-based neighborhoods.
Per acre, this is one of the most financially positive areas in Lafayette.
Look, look at the left. Look at the top left. That area is subsidizing the mansions. It's insane.
And it's the wealthy neighborhood that's bleeding the city dry. This keeps showing up over and over again, the basic geometry of how we built.
Here we go. This is what I was talking about when I was saying dense suburbs that I consider ideal. This is definitionally a suburb. This is not a dense urban area. It's not mixed use. This is just a residential suburb. But an area like this is like a money bomb for the city. It's perfect. It's dense. Infrastructure costs are low. They didn't even pave the whole road. They just got a little asphalt strip in the middle. This is perfect. This is phenomenal. If our cities and suburbs were built like this, America would be a fucking titan. Our cities, our fire departments, everything, all local amenities would be incredibly high quality. The money would be there.
Neighborhoods 100 years ago, with smaller lots, shorter roads, less piping per household, is far more financially sustainable than modern wealth spread across manicured grass. Every one of these examples is the same city finance math playing out, and it looks something like this. An acre of land costs the city the same amount to service, whether it's in downtown or in the suburbs. But per acre, dense neighborhoods are paying way more in taxes than the sprawling ones. So when you have a balanced budget, that can only mean one thing. Low-density neighborhoods don't cover their own costs. They don't pay for themselves. And if they don't, then who does? It's the high-density neighborhoods. These sprawling McMansions literally could not exist without the handout they get from downtown. Now, add to that one more fact. Lower-income people tend to live in the dense neighborhoods, whereas higher-income people tend to live in the sprawling ones. Which brings us to a...
That's so weird, is that some areas don't base property tax on the value of the house? Well, sometimes yes, but it's that the property tax is on the value of the house, but the house's value does not factor in the cost of the infrastructure used to maintain it, because that's an externality that the city provides no matter what. Like, in the construction and sale process of the house, at no point is the cost of the infrastructure the city provided to reach that house provided. Like, that's not even a factor. The city just subsidizes it no matter what.
Really damning conclusion. The people with the least are subsidizing the people with the most. And it's by design. We've designed our cities so that the poor...
Hold on 1 second.
So this is the basic way of visualizing community.
You're telling me you have a tax value per land map for Seattle in this video? City of Bothell?
Economic data, and we've basically knew a specific this county and Snohomish County together.
You're right. It's not very high quality. But I can just barely make out info on this. Oh, fuck. Does anyone have a high res on this? I can make out the details here in Seattle, but it's just too zoomed out. You know, this right here where I'm circling right now with my mouse, that's Seattle. Just this area right here. Though even with this, that you can see like the underlying pattern playing out, where this downtown core right here on the water has much higher taxable value.
To get you all, but this is looking at the two counties, which is a tremendously large area. This is your total value, and you can still see how these big purple
total value, not value per acre.
The highways.
I wish I had more data.
There's the Boeing factory, and up near Everett. But when you go from total, obviously, and here it is in 3D.
Here's value per acre. Yes. Yes. Oh my God. If somebody could find this map, I know this map has to be uploaded somewhere. Please, somebody get me this map. Look at this. Look at downtown Seattle, man. Look at downtown Seattle. Accountant, yes! It exists! It's not very high res, but this is all I need. This is for Bothell, Washington, but it includes... Look at this. The area they're looking at is Bothell, Washington, a little nothing area right here, but you can see all of Seattle with it right here. Look at this, man. So this is Mercer. So Mercer Island... Okay, perfect. Oh my God, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. So Mercer Island is like a wealthy people retreat right off of Seattle. Okay, hold on. We're going back to my maps again, okay? Here's Seattle. You can see where this is, right? Where my mouse is circling, this is Lake Washington. This over here is the Puget Sound. Okay, so this massive blue spike is downtown Seattle, right? That's right here. This whole area, super productive economically. Obviously, it's downtown Seattle. And then everything else, you know, you see it. This area where my mouse is right here, this is the University of Washington and the U district around it, right? This over here is Bellevue, down here. Man, Renton is like not even existent. Here's a higher res version. Yes, yes, yes! 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 Taxable value per acre. Dog, look at this. These deep purple areas are in excess of $100 million taxable value per acre. We're talking about fucking huge moolah, man. Probably in excess of 400 or 500 million per acre in the downtown core right here. Per acre. Yeah, per acre. Just an acre. The key is blocked by the camera. Why not just base property tax on lot size? Because you want the point of property tax is to recirculate value, because an occupied property in an area is a, how do you put it? You want to maintain a certain level of productivity, because otherwise there is a finite amount of land. It's not an abstract, like infinitely replicable asset. There is only one downtown Seattle. You want to make sure that area is being productive, because if it's not, it's just a net drain. You're like wasting land. It's valuable land. You don't want it to just be based on acreage, because... Sorry, I knocked down my game controller. Because that area should be more productive than an equally sized area in the middle of nowhere. But you have to factor in the value of the infrastructure that has been built and maintained in order to keep a neighborhood together. Overall, you can see Seattle is a pretty financially productive area. Like, considering the fact that Seattle is just this area I'm circling right here, Seattle is by and large pretty economically productive, you know? This whole area I'm circling right... Oh, you can't see it. This area I'm circling right over here with my mouse, this is the Seattle area, like legally speaking, you know? We want this land to be used. We want it to be productive. We want money to cycle into it and out of it. We want to keep that velocity of wealth high. Anyway, the point that I was going to make is that Seattle broadly is a pretty goddamn economically productive city, you know? Take a look at that. I mean, it's pretty good. But Mercer Island is a place where a lot of wealthy people live. It's this island I'm circling down here with my mouse. Very, very wealthy people live down here. Right? And in spite of that, it's like a black hole in terms of the city revenue. And you take a look at it and you immediately find out why. Here's where all the damn doctors and dentists and shit live. In Seattle, oh wow, okay, this isn't even the wealthy part of Mercer Island. These properties are poor and their lot sizes are still colossal. Let's take a look at the wealthier areas for a fair comparison, though that illustrates the point even more. Let's take a look at an unproductive neighborhood economically for the city of Seattle. Look at this. These lot sizes are fucking colossal. This is beautiful. Great. They should pay more in taxes. If you want to live in an area that's this forested, you shouldn't be, paying a tiny fraction of the cost that it takes to maintain the infrastructure in this area. God, look at these lot sizes, man. Palm trees in Seattle? Jesus Christ. Ridiculous. Looks ridiculous. We got to see some waterfront properties. Well, that's where the real money is, see? Here. These are properties down by the waterfront. Oh, by the way, and this is great, by the way. Look at Lake Washington. Almost all of it is inaccessible. Private houses with private docks. Fuck these people. Lake Washington could be like a economic juggernaut. All of Lake Washington. It's like this beautiful, amazing fucking lake that is surrounded by economically productive land, but the vast majority of it is like privately locked off. I mean, you've got parks, like Seward Park is great, you know, but like the fact that if you're on Mercer Island, like you live here and you have no way to just walk down to the coast here, the shore of the lake. This area is publicly accessible, at least. Over here in the non-Mercer Island side of the... Ew. I don't defend this. I don't defend this. I've been down here. I don't defend this. I didn't do all that. It is better on the Seattle side. Anyway, thank you so much for providing this map to me. We all understand the nature of the problem here. The problem is not innately suburbia, because suburbs will always exist. Suburbs are just areas that are residential, that are not the urban core. That's always going to exist. But the way the way we allocate that land and how we subsidize it is hugely important.
Are subsidizing the rich. No, I don't mean to imply that all subsidies are bad. We subsidize a lot of things: childhood education, cancer research, public transit, all things that broadly benefit the public. But this ain't that. This is a handout to wealthy homeowners of McMansions with big yards. It's a private luxury, not a public good, and not something we should be subsidizing.
What would you say to people who say, like, I really don't want neighbors near me. I don't want to have, hear other people. I don't want to be around other people. Yeah. I want my single family home, like, way out, and I like driving on roads. What would you say to somebody who likes that lifestyle?
I mean,
then die.
The crudest thing is, Pay your own way. That's your choice, right? But why should I pay for your choice? I would love to have a Ferrari, but I also know I can't afford the maintenance of a Ferrari. I can't afford the tires for a Ferrari, and I can't afford to pay for a Ferrari. So I may want that.
I think that's a good example, right? A Ferrari, maybe, let's say a Ferrari costs $500,000. You know, if you save up, maybe you can afford that. Like if a upper middle class family saved up, could they like get a Ferrari? Yeah, they could. You know, a lot of families could if they were, you know, the loan's it's gonna suck, but you could do it. But Ferraris are not regular cars. The maintenance on a Ferrari is obscenely expensive. They're extremely fine-tuned machines. Tire replacements, brake pad replacements, any maintenance you get done on a Ferrari is going to cost about like 10 times as much. You know, maybe you got like a car problem. Regular car, $2,000 bill. Ferrari, $20,000 to $100,000 bill. You go down to the shop. So it would be like if you sold people Ferraris on the cheap and then you made the cities pay for the upkeep afterwards. Like, oh, you want a luxury car, but you're not able to pay the luxury car maintenance cost? Don't worry, the city's going to pay for it for some reason.
But I have to make choices.
It comes down to this triangle of things that everyone wants from their city, and you can't have all three. People want stable services, good schools, good roads. Many people want low density, quiet space, a big yard, and people also want low taxes. Pick any two and you can make it work, but all three, it doesn't exist, at least not in a financially sustainable way. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be allowed to live on big lots. People can live however they want. They should be able to live out their suburban dream, but only if they're paying for it themselves. Sprawling suburbia with its...
And if they were, the vast majority of suburbanites just couldn't afford to live that way. Like it would price them out of it. They would be forced out of it, which I support because we're subsidizing it.
Full complement of infrastructure is a luxury that few can afford, and those that do can afford it right now only because everyone else is paying for it. But here's what I kept wondering. If we just uncovered this huge ongoing transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich, how have they been getting away with it for so long? If sprawled out suburbs don't pay for themselves, then how has this been going on for 70 years? A road lasts roughly 50 years. You maintain it, you resurface it, and eventually you rebuild it. You stay on top of it.
She's about to get to something I was hoping she was going to get to, which is that a lot of these suburbs are going to end up decaying and abandoned anyway because infrastructure costs money to repair. One of the reasons why, this is a very classically American experience, I think. You're driving around an upper class neighborhood, like high quality suburbs, and the roads are absolute dog shit. They can't afford it. The city overextended. That neighborhood might have a lot of spending cash, but the city is what pays for infrastructure, and the city bankrupted itself building out the suburbs in the first place. Now they have to maintain it? No shot. They're just going to have to abandon some of these areas. Can you link this video? I think this channel's been great. It's Justine Underhill.
And the costs are manageable, but cities figured out a long time ago that you can skip on the maintenance and then nobody really notices, at least not right away. It's kind of like credit card debt, or maybe more aptly, like putting off going to the dentist. You feel fine, and then you go back, and suddenly you need a root canal. And many American cities are in root canal territory. In my city, in Falls Church, we cut our road paving budget during the 2008 financial crisis, and then we never fully funded it again. And now we're looking at an additional $2 million a year for the next 20 years just to catch up. Every dollar of maintenance we put off before is going to cost us $6 or more to fix today. And Falls Church isn't special. The massive surge of road building through the 50s, 60s, 70s, those roads had a 50-year life cycle. We're now past due on the biggest wave of road reconstruction in American history. The
bridges too. A lot of our bridges are crumbling, and it's genuinely just a matter of time before they start like just getting closed and failing, and then their replacements are never built.
Federal Highway Administration estimates we'll need over $1 trillion to address the nationwide road infrastructure backlog. And that maintenance bill scales with distance. We built a lot of roads that reach fewer and fewer people. Every new subdivision on the edge of town means miles of new roads, water mains, sewer lines, power lines, stormwater drains. Fire stations have to be spaced close enough for response times. School bus routes stretch farther. Police patrol areas get bigger. For example, Cuyahoga County County, Ohio, which is home to Cleveland, more than doubled its built footprint from 1948 to 2002, while its population ended up being the exact same in both years.
Insane. Economically psychotic.
Cleveland built a whole new Cleveland without any increase in Clevelanders. And in another example, South Bend, Indiana added
I truly believe that with the level of economic productivity that we enjoy today, not just in America, but in the world, that with good decision making, we could have a lifestyle that would have been reserved for aristocrats back in the 19th century to everyone today. Beautiful pavilions and parks, lovely clean neighborhoods, amenities provided everywhere, mixed use urban development stretching out as far as the eye can see. I think every human on earth could enjoy that level of personal luxury in their environment, if we just rationally limited people to the kinds of urban development that used to be just taken as like, if just pre-car urban development. So Tokyo then? I mean, not exactly, but that is a good example because many Japanese, poor and wealthy, live in Tokyo, and by and large, Tokyo is pretty good when it comes to amenities and infrastructure, you know?
Times more pipe than people over the last century. Someone has to pay for all that pipe, but Cleveland and South Bend aren't alone. Most cities and counties in the US became way more sprawling. Earlier I said that every dollar we put off before is going to cost us $6 or more today, but that isn't totally true. We didn't put it off. We weren't there. We didn't vote for it. But now we have to pay for the unsustainable indulgences of the previous generation. They got to enjoy the white picket fence lifestyle and they charged it to the credit card. And now the bill has come due with our generation's name on it.
Here's the question. If we go back in time 60 years ago, 50 years ago, will we find in the council minutes where they said, we're going to spend more money in stormwater? Did they choose to spend $180 million more? And the answer is no. It's like that $180 million isn't being used for an after-school program, buying everybody in the city a pink flamingo to put in their yard. I don't know. I mean, you could do a million things in this community, but you know,
I think I'm going to end it here because I'm content stealing. It's just like really good content stealing. I'm just here. Let me beep. I subscribed. Go check out her channel. I just, you know, it's a great video. What a great illustration of this problem. Well, I mean, one of the big problems we're facing right now is also that this is our president.
There's so much talk about, oh, we're going to drive housing prices down. I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up. Elections.
What are your plans for the housing bill, Mr. President?
I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by compared to the Save America Act. I think the Save America.
So we're pretty far away from implementing the solution here, unfortunately. You know, a little bit. You get me.